All right, it's Wendy's time. She's gonna get a little work today. And it's got nothing to do with reliability, even though she's running weird. We're actually gonna get those light bars and pod lights properly wired in. I already got a master kill switch put in. I just gotta find a spot for 2 more auxiliary switches so that way I can control them separate or kill them both together. And we're gonna have to get into I guess Wendy doesn't want us working on her today. Anyway, here's that master kill that I put in. Threw it over here. Figured it'd be easy to hit if I gotta kill the lights on a back road. I'm gonna pull this panel back out and we're gonna put the light bar and the pod lights, just the little toggles here, so that way I can, like I said, control which one we want. Also, Wendy's actually getting up there. Put over 24,000 miles on her since I picked her up, but she's still going. If you're doing this at home, don't do what I'm doing, because I drive ship boxes and none of this stuff is screwed in. But basically, there's a nice little break right here already in this. It was actually there when I got it. You just slowly pull this side and some of this. You gotta push the radio in because the radio is not really mounted to anything. So we just kind of push that through. And now comes the fun part. You kind of have to work it this way and then open that gap up, and then it kind of just pops out. I'm about to put the camera down. Kind of like that. See, it splits not because it's broken. It's because it makes it easy. Now, this is the panel that we're going to take out. Like I said, mine's probably missing screws, so you'll probably have to do this different. But looks like we got one here, and maybe one in there. No, looks like it just clips in on that side. So yeah, we're gonna pull that screw, we're gonna pull this out and bring it back to the bench. All right, the bench is a mess. I have like 100 other projects going on that I'm gonna try to knock out today and maybe get some video of. So if you happen to notice, like, it's the same day and I'm wearing the same stuff at some point during the next couple of videos, just know this was all just today where I had some time and I figured I'd try to get a bunch of stuff done. But that'll just be between, I guess, whoever sees this first video. So I didn't find the second switch. I don't know where I managed to put it, but I have one switch here. So I guess we're just going to use this piece that I actually also had conveniently as just the main relay, which I'm going to use to power the pod lights. And that's just going to be on with that main switch. And then this second switch that I'm going to put on this side is going to control the light bar. So basically, all I'm going to do is I'm going to preset these up so that way I can wire them into the truck where power comes into this one. And then if this sees the signal, power goes to both of them. So always power, sometimes power with that switch. I guess always power with that main switch, but you get what I'm saying here. Yeah, so I'm going to start getting some of this soldered up, pop a hole in this so that way I can throw that in there. And once I get this part done, we'll see it going back in. As I was getting ready to start wiring some of this stuff together and cleaning up the harness a little bit, I realized not everybody really knows what's going on with a relay, how a relay works or anything like that. The way I like to explain it is you have a tiny switch, which are these tiny wires, that controls a big switch. So you wouldn't want these tiny wires running really almost anything, too small to really carry good current. And if you had a regular kind of toggle switch, like something like this on something like that, you'd probably kill the switch first. And if you didn't kill the switch first because the switch had, you know, maybe good contacts in it, you'd definitely burn up these wires if you were trying to run a bunch of amperage through them. So you get the tiny switch that when you give this power, it turns on the big switch that lets more amperage through, basically. Most relays will have a little diagram on them. This is a relay that kind of works as a flip-flop. So as you power this side, 85 and 86, which are tagged, helps if I hold it the right way, so 86 and 85, if we power these, it'll switch from going to, I think it's 87, so 30 to 87 will have power, and it'll give power to 87A. So it'll go from these two on the outside to these two real close to each other. This would be like, you know, regular beam and then a high beam switch. That's what you would use something like this for. Where with mine, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to send these out to the ground. This is going to get power from the secondary switch, that little one over there, and then this one's going to get power from the main switch, and this is going to go to the battery. This is the only one that I've got to run to the battery. This one's going to go to my my light bar. This one's going to run to my pod lights. This is going to get trimmed down so it just bridges here, but this will be the output to my pod lights. So basically, when I hit the main, pod lights will come on, and then when I hit that auxiliary switch, my light bar will come on. And I'll show you once it's all cleaned up. Alright, we are all wired up here. Something's making noises behind me. We got our ground going to come off and be mounted. Probably just going to throw 2 self-tappers into this and mount it up. We have our battery positive, and then we have our outputs, our switch, our 2 different switches for our 2 different relays, and we have our 2 different power outs for the fog lights, or cab lights, I guess, and light bar. This is all wired up, cleaned up nice. That'll get tucked into the Jeep. And then I got the switch all popped in here with its 3 wires. Basically, we just have a ground that's going to go to a chassis ground. We have a 12-volt constant, or a 12-volt switch. It really doesn't matter. And then the on for one of the relays. And then the other one will be wired in the same way. So, but oh, now that I'm thinking about it, I might want to wire this in. No, it doesn't need it. Anyway, yeah, 12-volt constant. This will be the output, and we'll be good. Barely can see anything here, but it's going to work better for what I'm trying to do here, which is show off these lights, because I got them all. Wendy's locked. Take 2. I know this is a horrible video because it's completely pitch black, but we're going to kick on these lights, which will at least give us something in here. So, we got it wired up where, well, blurry, where this switch here does nothing. That's because I don't have the key on. Key on. Switch on, switch off, switch on, switch off, switch on. Okay, and then this switch down over here kicks the light bar on, and that's all good, because none of that's my headlights. Those are the headlights. Kill the light bar, kill the pod lights, kill the headlights, and we got it all wired up. Not too shabby. I'll kick them all on again here, so that way we can see what they look like from the front. I think it's plenty bright. Oh, I got half a light bar. Isn't that something? That's just because this is a $20 light bar from the junkyard. I bet if I tap on it, it'll probably come back. Let's try to power cycle it. Yeah, I think my light bar is dying. Makes sense. Found it at the junkyard. But I think at some point it does kick on. I know I had it all the way on at one point. Well, works kinda. I was getting ready to wrap up that video about my lights, and I realized I never actually did show you during the day. Basically, this is that mast there. you can kind of see over there on the antenna, you can see it kick on a little bit. But this is the master that just kicks on the oh, you can see the strobe over there. Kicks on the power to the lights. I wanted the pod lights to be like the main on, basically, so that way I could point them off on the side of the road and not you know, not run everything else. And then the light bar is on this other toggle up over here, just so that way I can hit it together, I can turn those on. And then, like I said, because I wired my relays where one only gets power when the other one sees power, when I kill this, it kills both. It doesn't kill the power to this light, so it still tells you that this light, that physically that light switch is on. But if I kill power to the Jeep, it kills power to it. Even in this accessory mode, there's no power to that switch because of what I robbed the power off of. But as soon as it comes back on, then we've got power to the lights. Shut them off. But yeah, so stay safe, everyone. And you can do electrical stuff. It's not that hard. Didn't come out too bad either. Oh, way too much though.
Okay, let me try one more thing. I've definitely seen this in the gallery work for other people.
Yeah,
so let's just see. We do route, then road, then route.
Realized that I had a video on there. Stay safe, everyone.